Thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing to the Brother Love Show. We got a small goal over here at the Brother Love Show. We're trying to get to our first 1,000 subscribers. Do what you can. Share the stream. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. We got a quick video over here. We want to talk about a guy who was exonerated after 56 years for the murder of Malcolm X. Brother Muhammad Aziz was exonerated a couple days ago for the murder and let's call it assassination of Malcolm X. And let's hope that one day they get to the people that they need to get to. I know that was 50-some years ago, so more than likely some of the people that was involved probably not here no more. I mean, but it's good for this man and his family that he was able to get cleared of these charges, all right? Let's take a look at the video.
Who killed Malcolm X helped lead prosecutors to reopen the investigation into his 1965 assassination. And this week, two men who served over 2 decades in prison for the murder, Muhammad Aziz and Khalil Islam, were finally exonerated. Joining me now is one of the most foremost authorities on the life of Malcolm X, Abdur-Rahman Muhammad, whose work was featured in the Emmy-nominated documentary, Who Killed Malcolm X. Thank you, sir, so much for being with me. One, the documentary was amazing, so thank you for your work there. Two, I want you to take a listen to Muhammad Aziz. He was one of the men exonerated, and his reaction to being exonerated on Friday. Take a listen, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
The events that brought us to court today should never have occurred. Those events were and are the result of a process that was corrupt to its core, one that was all too familiar to black people in 2021. I hope the same system that was responsible for this travesty of justice also takes responsibility for the immeasurable harm caused to me during the last 55 or 56 years.
The immeasurable harm. I mean, he's currently 83 years old. He was released on parole in 1985 after serving 2 decades in prison. Like we said, he was also formerly known as Norman Butler. Why these two men? Why do you think that the government had such a interest in having these two men incriminated for something they didn't do?
Well, what came out in the proceedings and why these men are exonerated well after a half century. Think about that. We're not talking about a pardon. We're talking about an exoneration. Why this is happening now and why these two men is because the FBI and the NY Police Department had undercover operatives or undercover informants in the Audubon Ballroom that day. In the case of the FBI, they had 9, and none of them were called to the stand. None of them were even identified when the trial was being organized. And these two men were known to be, defenders of the community. They were strong in the FOI, the paramilitary wing of the Nation of Islam, and they were just easy targets. And they would rather put a case on these two gentlemen rather than expose their assets that they had in the ballroom that day. The NY Police Department operative, the boss, Bureau of Special Services, the ultra secret wing of the New York City Police Department, their agent, Gene Roberts, would be saved and protected to live another day. And his identity would only be exposed in the Panther 21 trial some years later, around 1971 or so.
This is not surprising, I think, to a lot of us who have grown up knowing stories like this and knowing the vested interest that the government has had in destroying movements like this. We do know, though, that at least one man in the Nation of Islam was directly responsible for the murder of Malcolm X. You talked a little bit about the conspiracy here. Other than the individual who even confessed, who else do you think had a vested interest in seeing Malcolm X die?
Well, there were essentially 3 actors in this horrific crime. We could say the Federal Bureau of Investigation under the evil J. Edgar Hoover and his counterintelligence program. They had a vested interest in seeing Malcolm X eliminated. The New York City Police Department, who despised Brother Malcolm, and also the Nation of Islam, which had a very powerful religious motivation. And they, in the end, were the ones who pulled the triggers that took the life of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz.
It's fascinating. I mean, I encourage everyone to watch this documentary. Our friend, Jelani Cobb, is also in the documentary. So thank you so much for your work. Like I said, this documentary is what opened up the case to even reveal the truth. So you'll have to come back another time. Thanks for joining us.